Tools, tools, and more tools. We're going to continue on our conversation talking about different tools. We're going to start with the screwdrivers first. Your most basic screwdrivers are your flathead screwdriver and your Phillips head screwdriver. Notice it's called a flathead because, well, the head's flat. Look at the Phillips head screwdriver. A Phillips head, if you look straight down on it, it looks like an X, right? Other screwdrivers you have what looks like a Phillips head, like this one here. This is actually called a posi drive. If you notice real close, you see that piece in the middle of this that this one does not have. There's 4 of those to where you have 4 more contact points. A posi drive screwdriver. The posi drive screwdriver has those 4 extra points to grip the bolt. So instead of having just 4 points to grip the bolt like the Phillips, the posi drive grips on 8 points. Next in line, we have what's called a Torx screwdriver. We talked briefly about a Torx when I showed you some sockets. The Torx, if you notice the head on the Torx, right there it is. It's a 6-pointed star. And you also have what's referred to as a nut driver. Nut driver, this is a 17mm nut driver, which it's got a hex head in here. It's like having a socket on the end of a screwdriver handle. All right, so after screwdrivers, I'll hand these off to my lovely assistant. After screwdrivers, we're going to discuss pliers. Start off with your basics. Start off with the basics. This is your standard slip joint pliers. Notice the slip joint here that the pliers move back and forth on, so you can have them tight, or you can expand the jaws to grip something that's a little bigger. Up next is what's called, these are locking pliers, most commonly referred to as, if you can see that right there, vice grips. Vice grip pliers are so named because their jaws lock and hold something in place. Like I said, vice grip pliers, you actually, or locking pliers, you actually lock something in place to where they don't come out. They'll hold themselves in place. You can release them, readjust them if need be, and tighten up something else. Up next on the pliers, adjustable joint pliers, more commonly referred to as channel locks. This channel here, you can adjust where the pliers would grip, so you can bring them up close here to grab something small, or you could open them up to grab something bigger. Next ones we have here are needle nose pliers or long nose pliers. Needle nose pliers are great for getting into tight spaces, grip small stuff. You got some like this. You could have a bigger set such as these, longer set to reach down into deeper places, skinnier holes, and get more and pick up something you might have dropped, or a snap ring you need to get loose. Oh, speaking of snap rings, next we have what's called snap ring pliers. See these pliers? See the tips of these pliers? They're designed to fit in these little holes on a ring to either spread the ring to open it up to take it off, or you can adjust these ones to where you have an internal snap ring or an external snap ring. They work for either snap rings. Finally on the list, we have what's called diagonal cutting pliers or side cutters. Notice the jaws on these, they're designed to cut electrical wire and other metals and materials. Hammers. 4 basic hammers we're going to talk about that we use in the automotive world. The first one we're going to talk about is called a ball peen hammer. Why is it called a ball peen hammer? Notice this little end here. This is the peen end of it. It's a domed head on one side and a flat head on the other. This is the most common hammer you find in an automotive toolbox. Also, you'll have some type of soft-faced hammer, whether it's like this one, which is brass. You could have plastic and rubber. Soft-face hammer is used to avoid damage to the work being struck. Also have what's called a sledgehammer or handheld sledgehammer. This here is like Thor's mighty hammer. This is a 4-pound sledgehammer. It's great, good size, good to swing, good to beat with. It's great for those stubborn. It's great for those stubborn front end parts that don't want to come loose. And most of your hammers are complete when you have what's called a rubber mallet. This is a rubber mallet. The head of it's made of rubber. It's designed for, well, mainly putting on wheel covers, which you don't see much of anymore. Never, when you talk about hammer safety, never take hammers and hit the faces together real hard. These faces, this hardened steel could bust off, could splinter off and hurt you. Another hammer I want to talk about is called a dead blow hammer. This is a dead blow hammer. If you listen close, it has sand or shot in it, and it's designed that when you hit something, it doesn't bounce back. It makes a solid hit. This one is plastic, so it's a soft face plastic hammer to where it doesn't damage what it's hitting. It'll still damage it because it's got some weight to it, so you can dent metal, but it shouldn't hurt much stuff that you hit with it. And that's all I got for today.